welcome to the Audi A5 Sportback, a car introduced in 2009, just 2 years after the A5 Coupe, which was a very handsome looking coupe. But the A5 Sportback is essentially some in-between version of the A5 Coupe and the A4. So it's the middle ground between the two cars, and at the time in 2009 there was no such thing as a four-door coupe. This is where Audi basically invented this niche with this car. At the time I was like, oh, that's a bit weird. I'm not sure anyone really needs this. You either want the A4 or you want the A5 coupe. But as time's gone on and the world's moved over to SUVs, and I don't really believe that SUVs are the best solution. Four-door coupes have started to make a lot more sense to me. And this is the original, this is the OG. They sort of set the ball going with it, really, the way they designed the car with the practical hatchback, the frameless door windows, and then the sort of general styling, which is like a good looking saloon car or a slightly bad looking coupe, whichever one you want to go with. First impressions of this interior, very sombre. It's really well put together, solid feeling, but unlike the latest versions of Audis, like the new Sportback, it doesn't look particularly exciting in here. I think the way they've done the newer ones is a class above, but I mean, it's definitely functional, simple, minimalist, and yeah, it does the job. It's just not in any way exciting to look at. And the way this screen kind of like goes all the way back into the dash looks a bit old-fashioned. I think it would be better if it was flush with the outer edges of the dash. Feels really well put together. There's no creaks or rattles. This car done 60,000 miles. It still feels new. The quality of everything in here is great. With this being a 2015 model, it's long into the facelift, which was 2011. The original version of this car only lasted 2 years before they facelifted it. The big obvious change, as far as I can see, is that it looks now like it's squinting a bit at you. Whereas before it had like sort of quite square, normal looking headlights. Now there's no such thing as a normal square looking headlight anymore, so they had to obviously get with the times and change it. Now I've come to expect from cars like this that the ride quality is going to be terrible. It always seems to be the case that, you know, this is the S-Line model as well, so it generally means that you're going to end up with skinny tyres, hard ride. But I have to say, I'm pleasantly surprised with the ride quality of this car. It's actually not bad at all. The seats, now I've not been driving this, maybe driving this half an hour, and I feel fine, but they do feel quite hard. They're not like comfy seats. I had a little read of the press release for this car in the time in 2009 when it came out and who they were aiming it at. They said that they'll be younger than the A4 or A4 Avant owner. They will be self-employed in a creative profession. And I was thinking, well, that's great for the self-employed creatives who can afford an Audi, then good for them. But I imagine most people purchasing this car, the way I've seen it, is they will have a professional job somewhere, and this will be their commuter car. I mean, if you are a creative and you're self-employed and you own an Audi A5 Sportback, comment below and tell me, but I'm going to guess that no one's going to say that. So there was an absolute plethora of engines available, and the majority of them were 2-litre diesels. So if you tell someone that you've got an A5 2-litre diesel, then it's almost meaningless because the range of powers available is huge. This one is a 2-litre diesel, and it has 190 horsepower, which is actually the fastest one they did for the 2-litre. But also available were several other versions down to 135, which was the slowest one. Yeah, this 190 diesel is absolutely effortless at overtaking. It's fantastic. It's all the power you need, really. I mean, there's something that fills you with confidence when you've got that power to just get past someone. You're not messing about like trying to build up speed and get around them. You just put your foot down and around you go. You catapult around them, so it's almost like a safety feature having enough power. The other thing that surprises me is the gear change, which is actually really quite nice. And having driven recently the Volkswagen Arteon, that had a bit of a notchy, unpleasant to use gear shift, but this 6-speed manual here is quite pleasant to use. Yeah, you just quite happily row through the gears, which of course you need to do with it being a diesel, otherwise it ends up bogging down and it's got no power at low revs. I think with a car like this I'd be tempted just to get an automatic. Grand Tourer, 2 people in the back, 2 in the front, automatic, lean back, relax, and also then when you get stuck in traffic, inevitably you're not constantly putting your foot on the clutch and wearing your poor old left leg out. Something a bit strange, and it's symptomatic of it being diesel. When you're in a too high a gear for the speed of the car and the revs are dropping low, in most cars you'd expect it to start vibrating, juddering, warning you, going, "Oh, please change gear, I'm gonna stall." You don't know it's going to happen, it just stalls, and that never happens to me in any other car. Wow, what is that? Perodua? Road noise, wind noise, very low, so this car is very relaxing. If you were to do a lot of miles, which you could do on one tank of diesel with this car, you could get a long way, and you could do it in quite relaxing comfort. Now, looks are subjective, I know, and I don't think this is a bad looking car. It's just not quite on the same level as the A5 Coupe, which actually is a genuinely really quite nice looking car, but that's the compromise you're going to make when you add space for people in the back and you extend the roof line. So for what it is, it's not too bad. Does anyone remember that Peugeot 206 advert where there's a guy in India trying to build one out of a old Hindustan car? For some reason that came to mind with this car. I was just thinking along the lines of guy starts out with an Audi A4 and he's like, "Oh no, this is it's a bit boring looking, a bit of a boring saloon car. I know what I'll do. I'll try and like hammer it into the shape of an A5 Coupe," and this is basically what he came up with in the end. It's not. It doesn't look quite as ridiculous as the Peugeot that he builds. In the back of my mind, Audi use aluminium to build their cars, and I always wonder how much of these cars is aluminium, because obviously the Audi TT back in the day, that was like, oh, it's all aluminium. The Audi A2, that was all aluminium. But what it is with this car, they basically build most of the car out of steel, but the front wings are aluminium. So there's a nod to their use of lightweight metals, but this car's still pretty heavy. The diesel weighing 1,580 kilos. Another interesting fact that I read was that the steel they use, with just 2mm thick and something like 10mm wide piece of metal, you could hang 6 Audi A5 Sportbacks off of it. So they're robust cars. So although this is a fairly heavy car, similar weight to my old Mercedes CLK, over 1,500 kilos, it doesn't feel it quite as much as my old Merc. It feels a little bit lighter on its feet around the corners. Now obviously it's got at least a decade of technological progress on it over my old car. Still, it doesn't feel too weighty. So an interesting thing that they designed for this car is the steering, which at low speeds is very light and very easy to manoeuvre, but then as the car increases in speed, the power assistance to the steering reduces and it starts to weight up a bit. So while you've got very light steering at town speeds, once you get going, the steering starts to feel heavier and therefore more sporty. I like the little input dial for this screen. Instead of having a touch screen, you've got a little scrolly wheel, and it's better because you've not got your hand around here like trying to touch stuff, and while the car's going around corners and it's moving about, you can just quite relaxingly just have your left hand down on the little dial, and it's much more easy to just focus on actually what you're doing and driving whilst changing the settings and having a look through. So it's a shame that seems to be disappearing from cars, and that they're going fully down the touchscreen route. It is, of course, once again time to ask Backseat JJ what he thinks of this car. He always just sits in the back while I do the reviews, very quietly, thinking about the backseat practicalities of whatever car. So, how's it going back there? Yeah, it's pretty good back here actually. The legroom's fine for me. It's set for yourself at 6 foot, and I'm 6 foot as well, and I can sit behind you all right. Headroom's just about okay, given that it's sloping back over my head. So overall, I'm very happy back here. I've got a nice big armrest here. I think there's no cup holders because they were an optional extra, I believe. And yeah, it's designed for 4 adults in comfort, this car, and I could see it being a good one for a Grand Tourer. There is one thing though back here that's not ideal, and that's this window. That is as far down as it goes, so there's no resting your arm on the windowsill if you're one of those people who likes to keep their hand cool. Can't do it. But I think it's to do with the fact that the doors are really long, so getting in and out is pretty easy. Oh crap, he's escaped. JJ, where are you going? He's gone. Hopefully I'll be able to track him down, or that'll be no more backseat JJ. I knew I should have put the child locks on. Oh well, live and learn. Yeah, it's just a relaxing car to drive. I mean, I've got my elbow on the side of the door here. Just sits quite relaxed, and you can just sort of steer with your right hand. So on a motorway or whatever, it's pretty good for that. Which is why I think it would really suit the 7-speed S-tronic gearbox. So if you're looking for one of these cars and you want a relaxing long distance car, then go with the auto. I've left the owner of this car, Craig, somewhere in a pub in the countryside, and he's probably wondering where I am now. But sorry, mate, I just quite enjoy driving your car. It's quite a nice car. So if you're wondering where I am, that's why. That's what happened. If you've got an Audi A5 Sportback, let me know in the comments. I want to know what you think about them. Yeah, why did you end up buying it over any of the alternatives? Do you like the car? So if you want a comfortable, well-built, refined, relaxing motorway cruiser that will also do the odd A road, B road maybe, you can have some level of enjoyment on those roads, then the A5 Sportback's a good one for that. And obviously you can fit loads of stuff in it. You can fit 4 people in comfort and a load of stuff in the boot as well. So if you're looking for that kind of car and you want something that's at least feels well built and it's not going to wear out, everything's going to last, yeah, I'd recommend one of these. It's not obviously, as people always say, Audi is not the #1 in driving dynamics, and if you want a sportier car, then yeah, don't stick with the Audi. But yeah, I've enjoyed driving it for sure. Thank you for watching, and remember to comment down below if you've got one of these, or if you're thinking of getting one. Let me know what you're looking for, and yeah, just remember to hit that like button. It's always much appreciated. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.